Hello and welcome to the UK Surf Show. We are your hosts. I'm Pete.
And I'm Mitch, and on today's episode we pretty much got on with what could be classed as the last one from the Devon trip, Mr. Whittling WoodPecker, which is not a cider, despite what you might think. We definitely found it very easy to get to his gaff. Absolutely no problems at all. First in, we were straight there. Weren't in completely the wrong farm complex, anything like that. So, yeah, Mr. Whittling WoodPecker.
That's all we need. Let's just go straight into it and then we'll come back afterwards, all right?
Boom.
Here we go.
Well, boys, it's nice to meet you finally.
Yeah. Yes.
We've been on the old Instagram and catching up that way, sort of thing. But yeah, here I am, North Devon, Martin Paul Edwards, aka Whittling WoodPecker.
Yeah.
So you're now in my workshop, as you can see, and this is on the Pickwell Manor grounds. I've been here for 17, 18 years, sort of
Right,
thing.
okay.
Yeah, and I've been based in North Devon for a good 27 years, I think, something like that.
And you've surfed a lot of places, I think, as well, haven't you?
Yeah, I've got stuck in a lot of countries, basically. Yeah.
Go on. Let's just go straight into it. Let's go into it. Well, actually, let's go back further. When did you first start surfing?
When I first came here, I brought a goat boat down, believe it or not.
All right.
Yeah, no, it was like a little goat boat, and then turned up with my brown Cavalier, turd brown Cavalier, on a wing and a prayer, ran away from up north, and then ended up on the fields in Croyd, a place called the Orchard, campsite there.
Okay. Yeah.
And we were all sort of like, there was a load of people who were working here, and I got a job in the thatch to start with, as you do, you know, your first entry. And then I was surfing low tide Croyd with my goat boat. You can imagine the frowns that I got off people. But yeah, I mean, I still schooled that because I was doing waterfalls and stuff, big rivers up in North Wales and places.
Yeah. Where is it you're actually from?
I'm originally from Crewe.
From Crewe, right? Okay.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
long way
Midlands.
from home.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So this must have been like a different world when you came down, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, it was. Yeah, amazing.
Yeah.
I was living out the back of my car in Newquay for the first 3 weeks, and then ended up in Bideford. I had a job as a canoeing instructor at Westwood Hoe.
Yeah.
And then I looked at the place, and it looked like it was an old people's retirement place, God's waiting room.
Yeah, right.
So I was like, yeah, it's on this, like, and then met a DJ in Bideford who said came here, so I ended up here. And then, ended up living on the campsite down in the Orchard it ended up as a good 6 years, but I met we call ourselves the Feral Hedge Monkey Crew.
Yeah.
So we got quite a reputation in the end, but we're all living and sort of like travelling and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, but
And judging by the Instagram name, Whittling WoodPecker, I assume that means you drink cider.
no, God, no, I fucking hate it. It's horrible. If anything, it makes me chunder. Terrible. Right?
So woodwork is your thing?
It is,
trade,
yeah.
your craft?
And I mean, you've given things away before on our podcast when we did competitions and made some of the waves. We'll put some pictures up because some of them are absolutely, well, I say some of them, all of them are absolutely bloody phenomenal. And so we did a surfability competition where I gave a board away and there was a wooden wave gone into it. And I think you've done a couple of them for us before. So thanks for that. And they go down really well. But the other stuff you've done as well. So anyone that's been to North Devon, been to Woolacombe, will have probably seen the North Devon Surfing Reserve, or anyone listening it's been everywhere. You can't really get away from it. And tell us a little bit about that, because you made the sign for the North Devon Surfing Reserve, didn't you, as well?
I did. Yeah, I did. What a commission! What a commission!
Yeah.
How did that come about?
Well, I got asked by, I think it's Cookie.
Yeah.
And they approached me and a few other people, sort of thing, and they're like, "Would you want to do it?" So I'm like, "Yeah, frothing."
Damn right.
But so the moment they said, "Would you like to do it?" I was like, "Okay, cool." But it's either you sit down and you sketch it, or it's not up there. Oh, it's a shape. Basically, I made a load of prototypes.
Yeah.
They're next door, actually. I could pull them out, but
Not one of those.
yeah. Well, that was the first CNC sort of thing. But I got asked to make it, so I made like 4 prototypes of all the signs.
Yeah.
And so I took them and we met in the Red Barn, and then we talked all about it, and then we were like, and then pulled out this sign, the prototypes, and like, so we went down to the actual site, put it in place where it would be this miniature little thing. I've got photos of it and everything. And it says, go on then. And I'm like, shut up. So I got 2 big beams, Jarrah beams that had been from Bournemouth Pier, and then put them together and a load of local wood, and got the local CNC place. And then we ended up getting Like, it all laser cut.
Yeah.
I won't show you what that is because if I tell you, I have to kill you about that bit. That's the next project. So
It's clearly on camera.
oh, is it? Oh my God, Mitch, cut it out.
It's not.
No, but yeah, basically, so they said go for it, and there was a big pressure on to get it up for the inauguration ceremony and everything else. So yeah, I built it, and it was all hand built in this workshop, sort of thing.
That's amazing. And
So-
the amount of people that would now have pictures with that, and as we were talking about earlier, I've seen the pictures when the sun sets at the right time of year, and it comes right through the centre of it as well.
I think it's a wintertime sunset, if I recall.
Oh, is it? I wonder who told you that.
All depends on the camera angle, though,
yeah,
isn't it?
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, no, winter. I mean, as being here for a long time, you kind of notice where the weather goes, where the sun pattern goes, and everything else.
It must be pretty cool, and that's a thing that's going to stand there for hopefully serious time. It must be nice passing that and knowing that was your little baby.
Yeah, humbled, absolutely humbled by it, and privileged,
Yeah.
really. So yeah, and then there's hopefully, fingers crossed, touch wood, there's more to come. So hopefully Putsborough's next, and then we'll carry on from there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you moved down to Croyd. You'd been surfing a little bit before that?
No, not at all.
Oh, so
right.
you
No,
got
no.
into it straight into it from here.
Yeah, no,
How did
exactly.
you find that sort of?
Well, it's a thing. When you start surfing, it takes time and patience and dedication, doesn't it? And you've got to surf everything, haven't you? So yeah, I put my goat boat down, and then ended up picking a surfboard up, and then plugging at that really, you know, to join in with the masses really.
Was that a simple? Did you find it easier?
No, God no. Surfing's probably the
I love an honest answer like that. It's brilliant.
Yeah.
People that go, do you find it simple? Yeah, I was straight on it. Like people just go, did I fuck?
No, God, Jesus Christ, no! It takes time and dedication, and plugging at it, and I mean, you get natural abilities for people.
Yeah.
Some people, if they're growing up here as a wee whippersnapper, but I came when I was 18, and I'd already got skills goat boating, but to transfer that, you can't.
Yeah.
It's time and patience. With surfing, you've got to sit there, you've got to watch what the surf's doing, see what's happening with it all, and with a certain beach break as well, everything all breaks differently. So time and patience and getting to know where you're surfing is key to this place.
Take us to them sort of first. I guess I presume you didn't do lessons. You just kind of go out and get amongst it. What was that? What was that like? And what spot was it?
It's Croyd.
Crew straight to Croyd.
Yeah.
So come all the way down from Crew. From Crew.
Yeah, lad. Yeah, that's it.
Never surfed, and you're straight out at Croyd. What was that like?
Oh, it's brutal. Brutal, it's a baptism of fire almost, When you're going with all your mates who, are already surfing here, and they're taking you out and they're saying, oh yeah, low tide's only, shoulder high. Before you know it, it's double overhead and it's like kicking your ass sort of thing.
Had you bought a board or were you borrowing something?
I was borrowing a Freebird, like it's a pop out or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Right.
And then, so I was borrowing a mate's board he's from the northeast, and he'd had this board just lying around. It had mould on it, and so I cleaned it up and had a go with it.
Yeah, right.
And then over time, kind of thing, and plugging at it, then eventually you've invested. It's only ever second-hand boards I've ever had.
Right, okay.
Up until recently, sort of thing. And then, just having a go at it, getting nailed, getting laughed at by all your friends and the locals.
Yeah.
But, it took quite a few years to get where you get to a standard where you're respected.
He says that you get to a standard. I've seen his standard. His standard's well above our standard.
Everyone, no dogs.
I've seen videos of you surfing and you fucking ripping as well. It's not just
Thank you.
It's not just like, I get on a wave and I go right and I'm like, oh fuck it, that's the best day of my life.
But that's the basic fundamentals of surfing, really. Yeah. At the end of the day, it's not to be out there being a show person. You can do what you want, but it's about the stoke. It's about the feeling of it, and also sharing that with other people. You know,
that's the bit, the sharing it. I think I know you say you go surfing on your own sometimes, and I've done it. I've been surfing on my own, but I get so much more enjoyment when I'm with friends surfing. It's just like we were saying the other day, weren't we? That thing of like, if you've just caught the best wave of your life, how much better is it if one of your mates has just seen you
Oh
catch
yeah,
that
but
wave,
that's the vain nature of us surfers, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you get a picture as well, fucking hell. I mean, shit.
Yeah, if you've got a picture and it doesn't look like you're taking a shit off the end of the board, oh yeah, I'm good.
But see if you see how stoked I get just going right and doing very little on a wave.
Why?
Like,
Which are you, natural or goofy?
I'm natural, yeah. But it's a good wave to me, but I've not really done much. But it just felt amazing. Like honestly, like in my head, I'm like, don't do it, and I start claiming. I'm like,
yeah,
proper claim it. Like I love it. But I can only imagine if I was to go and do some big hack. Like I don't know how I could take that stoke even higher. Like I'm so stoked on the water as it is.
Yeah, but then it's pushing yourself. So the more waves you surf, then you train your mind to go like, right, I've got to put my foot back. There's so many intricacies to surfing.
We pushed ourselves today, didn't we?
Did you get pushed?
Well, we got pushed.
It's quite windy.
Or you got owned, one of the two, isn't it?
I think it's important to get humbled and stuff.
Yeah, no, for me, massive. I love a spanking. Absolutely.
We got humbled initially just paddling out, but Pete wanted to go out in the biggest spot.
This isn't what actually happened.
It's 100% what he wanted to go out there. And do you know what? It was like we walked out and it was like just so many just closeouts after closeout, big offshore wind. It's not that it wasn't huge, but it was well overhead today. Yeah. And it was sort of like, you're like, it's just, when we stood watching, there was plenty of breaks in the sets, plenty of time to get out. Because I said when we walked down, this is all about timing, Peter. It's all about timing.
Right,
We started walking out, and the sets did not stop for like 15 minutes. And I was like, do you know what? I'm happy I would have got out, right? But I'm then not happy that I wouldn't have got smoked entirely, and I probably wouldn't have wanted to catch anything. So we kind of decided, well, we'll come back in. And I was just sort of like, it's been a while since I've been humbled. I was like, nah, I just need to catch one wave. I don't really care how it happens. I need to catch one wave. So we actually went out down by the corner putts. We went out by the corner and got out. I caught one wave, and I was like, that's all I need to do. Because I'm just like, right, I've been humbled, but I now need to kind of get back and own it a little bit, you know? And not that it wasn't, I would say it was a big wave, but it was a big insider. So it wasn't one of the
doubles
monsters.
Up and then
it wasn't one of the monsters. It was just on the inside. And I saw Pete. I think Peter had a wave, and Pete was on his way in. He was further into the corner than me. But I spotted Pete as I paddled onto this wave, and it's big wind, like you said, pulling up chest and
you
nose
can't
in the
see
board.
where you're going,
it's brutal. But I see Pete on his way in, so I'm on this wave. I make it around the first section, and I'm trying to get to the next section. But at the same time, all that mattered in my head was that Pete saw me on this wave. So I'm trying to make it around the section. I'm shouting, "Big!"
Did you not claim it at the same time then?
No, I just wanted him to see it. I swear to God, he heard me, and he would not look. He would not look. So that means that wave didn't happen. The wave didn't happen. But it's important to get humbled, isn't it? I think it's.
Oh
important.
yeah, no. I mean, I've been paddling out at Croyd at low tide when there's fresh swell, and it's been non-stop, just booming. And you're literally swearing at the beach break. Just you're getting all that like frustration out a little bit. But Croyd can be an animal where it's just dumping straight on top of you. Yeah. And you have to wait. You could be paddling 20 minutes. And then by the time it goes, and then it pulls you out. Oh, sorry. And then it pulls you out as a rip.
Yeah.
But then it also catches all the tourists out.
I do remember now. I was thinking about that the last time I got humbled, and it was actually Saltburn. It was quite a big day. But it was a rare sort of like 16, 17 seconds day.
Whoa,
and same thing. Like I like to think I'm quite good at. Because we were chatting about this earlier, but I always just go out the middle. Fuck rips. I'm just route direct. I want to save my arm. So I will always.
You want to brutalise yourself.
Yeah. I'm happy with that, but I want to save my arm. So I'll just go straight out the middle, right? And so for me, timing's important. It's really important, obviously, if that's my approach.
Yeah.
And I remember paddling out in Saltburn, and like I say, it wasn't like ridiculous, and that timed it really well. And then just out of nowhere, it was like, again, 15 minutes set after set. And when you just don't stop paddling, and then you suddenly turn around and realise you're literally in knee-deep water.
Yeah, you're further than when you started.
Exactly, yeah. And that happened. I was like, oh, fuck, I'm going to have to I need to accept my fate and get out.
No, never do that.
So
never.
I got out, right? I got out, and I'm stood on the beach, and honestly, by the time I walked out and turned back, it was flat. There literally wasn't a set for like 3-4 minutes. Thankfully, I got back in and made it out.
Yeah.
But I was like, the fuck was that? I just couldn't have timed that worse. I thought that was all about timing, but again, like I say, I think them days matter.
Well,
it's that reminder of who's in charge, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the spirituality of it a little bit as well. You're connected to nature.
Yeah,
and you want to play with this force that's in play, You know, and it could be a really strong swell, you know, and it just takes your time, you know. But as long as you're dedicated, that's half the game, I think, with surfing, is dedicated and frothing. Really.
That's why I don't. You said you're swearing at the beach break. Like I never do that anymore. I think I've once done that and I've kicked off with a beach break.
Really?
Like, fuck you. And then this monster thing's just detonated me and I'm like, okay, love you. And I will never say a bad word again.
Yeah, well, at least with Croyd at low tide, people can be sat, you know, only like meters away from you.
Yeah.
And it's going so hard and you go, you know, and they're all laughing at you. But, you know, that's part of the key, you know, is to accept that, you know, and be humbled.
We found ourselves making so many excuses this week to not surf Croyd.
Oh, really? Oh,
yeah.
bless.
We're not at that level.
No,
I'm sure you are. You just got to be having patience.
Yeah, I think I've last time I surfed it was in Croyd. Oh no, I think I surfed it with Leighton actually. I think we came down, but no, the time before that, I've said around here, it was like 2018, I think it was, or something like that. And I went out with a mate in January, and it was just monstrous. And I'd no right even being in Croyd that day, let alone on the beach or near the sea that day. But it was. I paddled out a bit and I was just like, it's just too. I can't even get out there. It's too big for me. And I was on a mid-length board, I think, at the time. And my mate Sam. You might know Sam Heapy.
Yeah,
you know Sam. Yeah. So he paddled out, and I saw him get on one wave and like look up, and the wave was like him and him above. So whatever overhead that is, it's like
3 foot.
10, 3 foot. Yeah, it was like 10 foot. Like it's like 10 foot face of the wave, and this thing just came down on top of him, and he paddled back in. He went, yeah, that is a bit big, yeah. That's just like, a bit big, I would have died.
I found the problem with Croyd, I've been down here on a huge day, probably double overhead, and in fact, it was probably the first time we walked down the beach, and we went from the sort of opposite side to Putts, whichever side that is, the Braunton side, and we thought, it looks
down end sort of end.
So we were like, actually, we'd parked at that side, and we thought, it looks a bit smaller at the other side. So we suited up, grabbed the boards, and we walked for the other side, and it just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And it was the first time it was just like, nah, I am not going in there. But the problem, I think, is that such an easy paddle out, especially when it's a big set period. Like you're out back
easy,
and it breaks really close to the shore, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Well, the days I've seen it anyway. So even somebody turning up on a foamy, like beginner, sort of intermediate.
Well, this is where, you know, summertime, it could be a strong swell, and you'll be sat out there, and Croyd low tide is pumping.
Yeah.
And then you see these people, and they're getting dragged out by the rip, and you're going, you shouldn't be out here. And they go, which way? How do you get back in? Paddle.
You said it today, like when we were at Putts.
Yeah, no, it's like, I said, Mitch, we get out there, you're going to have to get back in as well. And some of those are big, and it's like, you get that thing of like, I just don't want to surf that big. I'm not.
Oh,
I'm
no,
not.
yeah. You do a good straight-hander, though. You don't have to go left or right. You can do a straight-hander.
I was about the foamies.
Oh no, that as well. Yeah, no, I was on about the paddling back in, because I was just looking at it and it's getting bigger. Like, so, you know, as you get there and it's just getting bigger and bigger, and you're just like, you're going, right, that's big, and it's gone to that point where it's like, right, that's getting to sort of out of my comfort zone level, and I was on a different board again, and I was just like, I'm not feeling it. I'll just take one or two if I can get them. Got one sort of half wave and then just like rode back in, and I was just like, yeah, I'm getting out. But I wasn't feeling that. But we were there, and there's people coming down with like foamies and stuff, and I'm like, you're gonna fucking die.
30 mile an hour offshore wind as well.
I mean, absolutely no fear, is there?
No,
you know, and some of them,
fair play,
I've seen them foamies in the Mentawis where you go, really, honestly, you know, bless them.
So you say Mentawis, so like, you won't be able to see here, but there's on the camera, but there's boards on the ceiling up here, and you started going through them. So where's some of the places you've surfed around the world?
Oh, goodness. All right. Well, first time, let's talk about experience of being humbled, shall we? So I've only been here 6 months in Croyd. My first ever trip was to the Canary Islands.
Yeah.
It was only meant to be there for 2 weeks, and I ended up there for 3.5 months. I just went, whatever, okay, I'll stay here. And I got a job as a waiter. So camarero, so hablas español. So I had to learn Spanish. But yeah, my first paddle out into Lobos, the island off there, and I went with 2 other friends, and they could surf, but I was such a newbie. We paddled out, and it just kept getting bigger, like you said, and you're like, you know. And I just sat there watching my mate annihilate this wave. It was amazing, but I was like, no, I can't do that. Yeah, so I paddled back in, like, you know, and got nailed on the, you know, getting out because it's all volcanic and stuff. But yeah, that kicked off my surf travel and doing that whole, you know, work and then travel, etc. But yeah, one of my biggest trips was going to Africa, and I was only meant to be there for 3 months. I ended up there for 3 years. Nuts, yeah. So I ended up surfing, obviously, J-Bay.
Yeah.
Which is incredible wave. And then you're talking about sets and bigger waves. You're there at low tide and it's just getting bigger and bigger, and that swell there is something else, you know.
What sort of sizes do you think you're talking there? What's the biggest you've seen it there?
Double and a half, and then it starts getting a bit furry sort of thing, you know.
Yeah, right.
And it wraps around the point, and then you've got all the different parts of the point. And when it gets big enough and the right size of tide, you can connect all the way through, which is nuts.
Wow.
But yeah, I was surfing a 6'3" pod from Mike Myers, it was. And I managed to drop down the wave, tune it to the top, and then do a little bit more fade, and I went, no more. Because it's all about the board then, what you can surf, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was an animal. But probably the most I'm going through them too quick because I've been to too many countries. But Indonesia, the Mentawais, I went to HT's, Lance's Right.
Okay.
What an animal.
Yeah.
What an absolute animal. I mean, you paddle in, and there was a Taj Burrow who flew out there. It was triple overhead. And it was nuts, you know. There's because of the way it breaks, you drop down, you fade in, and then it doubles up.
Right.
And it's an absolute animal. The barrel on it, you just go, you know. And I spent a month there.
I thought you said I spent a month in the barrel.
Nearly, but it took me a month in the barrel to get out the barrel. Nuts.
You feel, when you left, did you feel competent and comfortable on that wave?
No.
No.
No, not at all. No, and I was getting up at dawn before the boats would come in and stuff like that, you know, dedicating my time. And everyone jumps on a boat, usually, to get a charter boat to go around all the different waves there. But because they're such animal of a waves, you kind of don't get in tune with them.
Okay.
But yeah, I spent a month in front of HTs and just surfed that wave.
Wow.
And eventually you become in tune with how that wave breaks. Yeah. Which I think is super important. I've done Raglan as well. I was only meant to be there for 3 months, but ended up 10 months there. Yeah. Built a tiny house. But Raglan's another wave where you end up getting it, and if you can surf it right and figure out where it wraps, you can get through different parts of the point.
You found that when you travel to these spots, are there people that guide you on the waves, or are you just literally learning on the hoof?
Well, it's experience that it boils down to. Experience and time and like being competent enough. So when you take off and away, I mean, anywhere that you go, everyone will watch you, won't they? But if you can actually surf a wave, then...
I always find that an interesting debate. I remember somebody saying to me they think that a surfer that knows the wave has, like in a competition setting, a surfer that knows the wave has an advantage over a surfer who doesn't. And I always think, well, if you're just a really competent, you can read the ocean really well. I would rather have that ability than knowing the wave, because I think, you know, there's obviously a benefit to knowing the wave, right? Yeah. But if you've just got the natural ability to surf whatever's in front of you, knowing what you can do with what's been presented to you, I would take that all day long over knowing the wave. Yeah, I think you could learn it on the fly.
But I mean, that's the thing of surfing all sorts of conditions, isn't it? In different places, you end up knowing where that swell's sort of coming, and everywhere that you do surf, it could be a reef break, and you think it's the most perfect break in the world, and it's not. It takes time and judgment to get to know how it does it. So there's a bit of both of your argument there, where if you are a local surfer, you'll know it inside out. But if you're attuned to surfing different waves, you will draw on that knowledge, won't you?
Yeah.
You know, and you'll be like, right, okay, that wave's bending there. You know, I surfed Durban, New Pier.
Yeah.
Which is, I got humbled and spanked like you won't believe.
It's when you go through, I surfed like J-Bay, Raglan, blah, blah, blah. And then I surfed New Pier. Oh, that was scary. You're like, what the fuck were these other ones?
When you went to New Pier, how long did you go for, and how long did you end up staying?
Well, yeah, all right. I was only meant to be there for another 3 months, but from the way it worked out, I was looking after surfers, not street children. They came.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. They came here for 6 weeks of a tour.
Yeah.
And the guys who own this place, they sponsored these guys.
Yeah.
And they came over here and they said, "Do you want to drive them round for 6 months?" Or for No, it was 6 weeks. Sorry.
Yeah.
But yeah, basically, I'd been in Africa beforehand and
Yeah.
learned how you couldn't like it. I like the languages and stuff. You
Yeah.
know?
That's
So-
Tom Hewitt, sorry, isn't
That's
it?
it.
Tom
Yeah,
Hewitt,
exactly. So I ended up driving them around for 6 weeks, and then I got offered to mentor them out there. So I stayed in Durban and did the whole. I was their mentor, and you know, it was hard work, but what you know, fulfilling sort of thing.
Yeah.
You know.
We're a big fan of what's happened with Surfers Not Street Children. We first came across it with Brad, and we had Brad Rochford on the show. I'm sure you know Brad.
Yeah.
And he spoke about it. And I remember watching that film that was made about it. And man, for anyone that doesn't, isn't aware of it, I'll let you explain it a little bit better. But you ended up with, try to just collect some boards to send across to these deprived kids, give them some purpose, something to do. And I think there ended up being so many boards stuffed into these ISO containers, like there was no room, was there? There was absolutely full of boards. It was a really nice thing to see, and it's really nice to know that it's still, because I think sometimes you can hear about something that's that kind of, that level of giving back to people, and then you don't really hear anything else about it.
Yeah, well, at least Tom's here as that's his home base now.
Yeah.
Because he was based in Durban when I went out there,
Yeah.
and I was at the very foundation or the very beginning of the whole charity.
Yeah.
So yeah, I went in there quite raw sort of thing,
Yeah.
and I had 9 Zulu boys from the ages of like 14 to I think it was 14, 15 to like 20 odd.
Yeah.
So they're quite a difficult age.
Yeah.
But I found the best way to get them sort of like knackered was to surf with them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they were surfing, shoulder to head high waves, and we ended up pushing them to Cave Rock and all sorts of places, pushing my limits too as
Yeah,
well.
right.
But I had to, put it out there, sort of thing.
Yeah.
I mean,
You're like that. This will be all right. It'll be
yeah,
fun.
go on, send it. It's great. I mean, it's that thing, isn't it, where everybody's watching you get waves and everyone's getting nailed, and you're like,
Yeah.
End of the day, you download, don't you, sort of thing.
Yeah.
So you're knacking them out and everything else. But yeah, Xbox was the biggest babysitter ever, wasn't it?
Yeah, fair.
Get one of those. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
But yeah, no, what one experience. But yeah, I'll tell you one wave. I mean, me and Tom surfed New Pier, and it was a beautiful day. It was crispy, glassy, and it was just breaking past the pier. So you had to take off at low tide, and you have to backdoor it and come through past the pier. So you've got one eye on the pier. And when you drop in, the whole thing just mutates, and then you get inside it, and the whole barrel's just going like this, big sand bottom and everything. And then I went through the doggy door, and then someone said, "Oh, you could have carried on." I'm like, "No."
Oh, fair play. I mean, man, I've not seen your surfing pictures or videos. So, I mean, it sounds like if Pete's saying you're an absolute phenomenal surfer, I'll take his word.
No, I don't know. I'm humble. I just froth. That's it.
Yeah.
I just love it when you're in the water and you're in that element. It's
You
great.
just watch. He's got videos on Instagram.
I'm going to be
You just
checking.
watch.
I'm curious.
Vain again.
What is the comfort level for you? Where does that
Well,
sort of sit?
I should do. I did paddle out to oysters. That was something else.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That was breaking the comfort level a little bit.
Yeah.
So I
How
went
long does it take you to paddle out there?
20 minutes.
You got to be knackered by the time you
No,
get there.
God, no. Once you're physically fit and you do your pace, don't you? You take your time. The hardest bit is probably paddling out through part of the reef,
Yeah.
then getting out and then taking your time to get out there.
Yeah.
And then when you do get out there, you're faced with this big wall of water where you go, "Oh my God, I will be humbled today."
What do you reckon it is out there? What size is it getting up
Triple
to?
overhead,
Yeah.
for sure. 3 of me standing on top of each other all day long. Depends. It breaks, but when it does break, it is big enough.
Yeah.
To be fair, it took us 20 minutes to not paddle out at Putney.
Well, that's good training then,
That's
isn't
why
it?
I was saying you must be knackered by the time you get there, because I was.
And did you get some waves?
Yeah, I got some
Yeah.
waves. Yeah, I went out with an underground surfer and Matt Tufnell. He's only local to here. He's not a social media king or anything.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, he's frothing, and I surfed one of Andrew Cotton's boards. And he's got one of Richard Carter's boards as well that he bought off him.
Right.
And they're big boards. I'm like, oh, it's a bit of a hell of a board.
Or like a
But
gun sort of board.
yeah, proper gun with a pintail like this.
Yeah.
But you need them.
Yeah.
When you take off on that wave, you don't realise the actual speed that you do get out of it. It's nuts.
Wow.
So yeah, and it took a while to adjust to where the wave breaks and everything else. So it's quite an animal.
Was it a case, or is it a case of just catching the wave and hanging the fuck on. Or
Yeah,
you're not trying to surf it. You just try to make it.
Yeah, well, yeah, there's a bit of that, but there's also because it was a board that I'd never surfed, and you don't know the feel of it.
Yeah.
So you take off and you just try and keep your line, and then tune it a little bit. But there's no going whoppa, whoppa. You know, at the end of the day, you go, oh my god, hang on, dear life, please. Yeah.
And did you get humbled that day?
Oh, well, humbled enough to be like, yeah, this is a spot that you have to go out with a mate, and you're out there.
What was the wipeout like?
It's not bad, like really.
No.
I didn't wipe out, touch wood.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, I
Oh,
managed to
fair
stand up on every
Told you he's
bloody
good.
way.
Yeah, I was
Thank
gonna
God.
say,
Yeah.
I told you he's good.
Yeah.
So I'm just thinking of like all these places you said you've surfed around the world and all these places you've been to, and that you still come back to Croyd. So how does Croyd hold up on its day to places like that?
Amazing. What a break. But it's all there's a word for it and I can't get it to it right now. But it's one of those where it doesn't always break right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You have to be on the case, see how it breaks. You know, it can go through the tides and it has this pull where it just breaks and goes. And then sometimes it can be an absolute, and like I said, you can end up swearing at it.
Yeah.
You know, just come on, you know what I mean? But yeah, it's a good training wave.
I think it's one of those ones that's like, if you're a new surfer or new to surfing, Croyd is not the place to start.
No.
Like,
But I mean, it depends on how you go about it and what swells you choose and how you surf and what time you surf.
yeah.
You know, you go out low tide Croyd at 6 foot, you're going to get owned. Like, you know, I've taken some mates out before and they've been fresh down there and go, come on then, for a laugh. It's brutal. For a laugh. I won't tell them who it is because that's shaming. But no, it was great, you know. But they remember that day like it was, you know, tomorrow, you know. But
then at the same time, if you've only ever really surfed Croyd, or that's your entry to surfing, that's the reason why you've been surfing the waves you've been surfing, probably, because if your first experience is surfing, well, you don't know what heavy is. That's just how it is.
yeah, well,
So
you
that
get
just becomes normal.
desensitized. isn't it?
Exactly that, yeah.
Yeah.
So you go surf somewhere that's, I guess, a bit more mellow, and it's like,
Yeah, well,
There's
you
no
can
real
stop
problem, is it, in
ripping
your
then,
head
can't
then?
you? Yeah.
What's the heaviest out of all of them then?
Out of all of them?
Yeah.
What? Mintawi's.
Yeah.
Mintawi's, I got owned.
That's the heaviest.
and really shallow as well.
Yeah, super shallow. You've got surgeon's table there. I mean, like I said, Tajborough flew out for the triple overhead swell. I paddled out and I got stuck. I got clipped by a set right where the impact zone is and where it doubles up.
Yeah.
And literally then the next wave was like on top of me. And I duck dive. This board up here, it's this one, JS board, like 6'6". I bought it specifically out there because I'm undergunned. And yeah, I tried duck diving. The wave broke on me. And you need bear hug it. And it rips the board out of my hands. Fins came up here. And it was just so mutant that you go, wow. Honestly, these guys can surf those waves and you go, take your hat off to them, you know.
Yeah.
No, fair play.
Amazing, like, you know.
I had a when I was still in the army surfing, done a trip to Crewe left.
Crewe left?
Yeah.
Oh, I've been there, Sumatra,
Yeah, Sumatra, yeah. And
I've been there.
I remember being like, it'd be an amazing experience to go, but I also remember thinking it'd be a waste of time going if I go and it's huge every day and I don't surf. I'd be annoyed at myself and I'd be annoyed at taking up a space for someone else. So I didn't go in the end. But apart from the really good surfers at Army Surfing, everyone got smashed. And all I heard about was the surgeon's table as well. And it just, you have to be at a level for a wave like that, right?
You do. And also brave and just get used to it. You have to, like we're talking about with Croyd, desensitize yourself to that wave.
Yeah.
Because you're looking at the reef going, oh my God, you can see it. It's not like here where you go, oh, it's all brown, it's fine.
Yeah.
You know, you don't even see the reef sort of thing. But
it's hard to commit.
Yeah, you have to commit and just put your head down 100%, you know.
Yeah.
It's one of those, you know. And when you do, I mean, I went to Crewe and that was an incredible place. Beautiful part of Indonesia was more unspoilt, you know. You can go there and sort of like now it probably developed like anywhere.
I imagine so, yeah.
But you know, it was an incredible place to be. Sort of thing. But if you go to Indonesia when it's our summer, you will get owned. You know what I mean? I've always gone when it's our summer, and then you look at the swell and go, wow, you know. So
I know we normally do these at the end, but I'm going to chuck them in these two because we're talking about all different waves. What would you say your best wave, if you could pick one, or you could only surf one for the rest of your life? What would be your best wave?
what do you mean? Oh, what? That's it. You're stuck there.
You're stuck there, and at one point, that's where you can surf.
Croyd, because it's got so much choice.
Yeah.
Yeah, just in this little beach break. If I couldn't leave this valley, I'd stay here.
I suppose you could carry on working as well. Then.
Yeah, well, I love it. Yeah, or it would be J Bay, but like you've got like 6 months of really good waves.
Yeah.
And then it goes flat. There's nothing.
Yeah.
So, but to be honest, like I love the way that, because I've been here for so long now.
Yeah.
The way that it gives you those options. And you can, you know, every swell's a little bit different, and you can predict it a little bit more.
Yeah, right.
So on that same sort of thing, on that same question, is Croyd the best you've surfed then?
No.
So what's the best you've surfed?
What's the best?
If you can see it.
Oh, what? One? I have to pick one or like a few of them?
I'm going to let you go a couple because you've surfed so many. So yeah.
Well, J Bay's something else.
Yeah.
But it's not just specifically.
Is that the experience of just being there and knowing what the place holds and what?
No, because I spent time there. 2 winter seasons I spent there. And I didn't, you know, you can call Supers amazing. But then I surfed there. I basically, where I was based at Kitchen Windows, or it's Island Vibe, which is further up.
Yeah.
It's about, you know, half a mile away from the actual break.
Yeah.
And it's this beautiful little A-frame peak that you can get 3-4 wraparounds, and then inside. It's my first ever barrel, that was. So I went there with hardly any equipment. I had to borrow a wetsuit, and it was big tits, big ass. It was a lady's wetsuit.
Yeah.
I just went there and I had to dig in. But yeah, but you can get like 3-4 wrap rounds on this peak, and then on the inside it just jacks up, and then you see the wave just go like that. And you just tuck in, and it was amazing, you know. And it was just round and round. I was surfing it for 6 to 9 hours a day, and I was meant to be building a bar there.
At JB, how hard is it actually to get a wave? It's a busy spot, no?
No, it can be, but as long as you take your time with it, and there's loads of different spots to it. You know, it's not just super tubes. There's like coins. There's Bruce. You know, everything else. Not Bruce's. The point, all sorts, albatross, whatnot. But if you sat there and you're a good enough surfer and you let people get their set waves, and then you sit and wait and be humble, and then once I find that when you go to a place like Ragland or anywhere that's a named spot, as long as you can surf and you take your wave and you take off and you do what you can do, and you sit there and you gain the respect of the locals. But the longer you're there, so if you're there for 6 months, people will know your face.
Yeah.
And you'll get like this repertoire with people.
Do you find that with surfing community around the world, that once you're in, it's very easy to just become accepted by them?
No.
You don't?
No, you've got to earn it.
That's what I mean. Once you've earned it, once you're in there, you're very accepted, like, that's it.
Yeah, sort of, yeah. I mean, as long as you're respectful of every wave sort of thing, but it's time.
Yeah.
Time you put into anywhere, you can get all sorts of people, The Mentawais, people took their turn with each wave because it's brutal, it's critical.
How have you found similar sort of line of question? Similar line of question.
Yes. Who are you, CID?
How have you found the vibe of these sort of spots when you go around? You notice, like, from Australia to South Africa to the UK, is it in these serious spots, these waves of consequence? Do you find it a similar sort of vibe in the lineup, or are some like really aggro, some are really tense, some are friendly, and what are they like?
Well, it depends. I mean, some people can just take a disliking to you, and they can have an ants about you, and you just go, whoa, all right. But it depends. I've always managed to navigate a lot of things, but I've found aggro in the water without wanting it at all. I'm just like, frothing.
I found aggro on a podcast without wanting it.
Hello. Yeah. Come on, then, who wants a fight? No, not me. It can be all around the world, like, So, there was eBay as well, and there was a Hawaiian there who thought that he owned the place, and you're like, well, you're not even from here, and there was a Maori that wanted to have me for surfing. I left that there was only 3 of us out. And Ragland, I got throttled because I dropped in, and I was really humble and sorry. But he had an issue.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, like, it's about time and being humble and getting to know a spot and just being stoked for people,
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
I think that's a really key to any of the surfing that you do, it's like people can take it super serious and get super into it, but then that's their problem.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I just let them have it.
And I think while we're on those waves, I'm going to put the other one in there as well, which is worst wipeout.
Oh, worst. Oh, I've got
this is going to be good.
This is at Croydon as well, and I remember Tom Lambert. He saw me, and it was brutal. It's not often that there was this peak that was towards Baggy End, and it was sort of low tide, and it was coming in, and it was folding into itself. You know, when you can see the brutal wave where the power's all in this peak.
Yeah.
And I was like pretty brave. Paddle over to it. I'm gonna have, there's a rip going through it as well, so you can imagine the force of it. It's up there.
Yeah.
So I take off, and as I take off, it just goes, throws me over the lip, like throws me down. Whoa, literally on the floor, going, oh my God.
Yeah.
I came up and I'd lost my wetsuit boot and ripped my wetsuit boot off. Going, oh my God. So I ended up walking out from the beach and going, oh, okay, bollocks, I've missed that sort of opportunity. And then went down for a second surf in the evening. And I walked down and I was wearing Mikey Corker's big wetsuit boots. They were probably 2 sizes too big, so they're like little flappers. Anyhow, I surfed again and then I came out. And lo and behold, I found my wetsuit boot. I was like, no! Oh, it was amazing. Like.
I like the idea you're a second wipeout with no boot on and you came back up with the boot on.
Near enough, yeah.
Horrendous.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's probably one of my worst wipeouts. The Mintaro's one's another level again, but,
What wave have you been disappointed by? A wave that you've been like, oh, I so want to surf that wave, and then you've got it. I don't know, it changes on the day, right? But what wave have you been like, I need to surf that wave, and you've gone out and it's been like, nah.
No, I don't know, really. I can't say that I've been disappointed. You always you could go out when it's onshore slop and you go, I've had a few good waves, I
often do.
Yeah.
But dare I say it, Putsborough's probably the one, really.
Yeah. Right,
Slutsborough.
okay.
We call it Slutsborough.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
There's a reason. It's one of his favourite spots. Well, it might not be now anymore.
You call it Slutsborough, but we got fucked by it today. Oh, yeah. I love Putsborough. I don't know.
Yeah, it can be an animal of a wave. That can be amazing.
Totally,
I've surfed it bloody good and big as well sometimes.
I've had some days I probably shouldn't have been out there.
Yeah.
But I've had some waves.
I think I've had more. I think the problem with Putsborough is I've had more days I shouldn't be out there when I was that I haven't had days when it's been like, oh, it's all right today. It's quite nice today.
Yeah.
Putsborough's one of the first spots where I surf when I don't like big waves, and for me, anything over sort of head and a bit is big. That's my big. But I was out there, a load of us, again, army surfing, and it was bloody massive. It was probably head and a half plus, might even have been twice over head. But it was the first. Normally, I would just go as deep and as far out back as possible for safety.
Yeah.
I'm not even. All I'm thinking about when I'm paddling out is how I'm getting back in. I'm not even thinking about surfing. But on this day, I don't know what it was. Something that just clicked, and actually, everyone else was sat way, way deep out back, like just in safety and not really catching any waves. And I actually sat on the inside and accepted that I'm going to get smoked by a load of waves. But within that, I'm going to get some waves. So I was like, it was quite a nice thing because I wouldn't normally do that. So actually, in amongst the poundings, which I dealt with absolutely fine as well, I got some really good waves. It's still massively sizable. And I'm not talking about reforms, just talking about the ones that stayed open.
Yeah, that's
right. A lot of them
yeah.
were closing out before the bigger ones were all closing out. So I don't know, there's something in there that for me is quite special because that's not my normal approach. Normally I'm just like, fucking be safe. Get out back. But on that day I was like, no, something just clicked. So I think there's something for me special about Putsborough.
Well, this is where I think, like, surfers that, that are doing competitions, they run through people, but they choose that middle point.
Yeah.
They choose to get the spankings in between, like, sitting there and off back and everything else.
Yeah.
So the managers could just come past. But they sit in the middle of it all. And then that's when they get a choice of waves.
Yeah, you can paddle out or paddle in.
Yeah, it's like Will Bailey, Malachi, and people like that. Bo Bettridge. They're all on the inside frothing,
Mitch.
Yeah. Mitch.
Yeah, get on, like, yeah.
Yeah, Mitch on the inside frothing. So, I mean, talk to us a bit more as well about. I don't want to hear just about the surfing. I want to hear about the wooden waves as well. How they came. How did you start making them? Because, like, as I say, they're phenomenal, and like I see one here that's
it's half finished, not quite, but yeah, look, it's got a full barrel through it. I mean, you can't. Let's bring it in, shall we? Let's bring it in just for a minute. So this one, I just got a new tool for it as well. But a lot of it is all handmade. So this one's like an A-frame peak. It's got to be Croy, doesn't it, really, at the end of the day?
Yeah.
But yeah, you can see straight through the barrel on that. There we go.
Wow.
You know, and that's hand carved out of a bit of a beech wood that I made Old Guy's Rule office from it.
Yeah.
So this is an offcut from it. Don't tell them. Like well, at least I didn't burn it. Crikey, you know. But yeah, but this one, like you've got the barrel going right through it, and to get that's taken time and dedication to get to, and then we get the white water at some point. You know, so it's been a development. I did look, you know, it's one of those you look on Instagram and watch what other people are doing.
Yeah.
And I saw some people sculpting. I think I've just posted a story today as well of Nathaniel Art, I think his name is. Amazing, you know, he does it. He's like 2D and I'm going 3D with mine.
Yeah.
But yeah, I took the inspiration and went, okay, let's have a fiddle. And I made a few that were just simple shapes. And then over time, it's taken, probably 3-4 years to develop and understand how I can manipulate that wood, because now I've thrown the grain so it goes through the barrel. And also what it is there's a way to shape it.
Yeah.
To get that white water, and so I can get those little strands that you can see, you know, it's like fine detail to it.
Yeah.
And it still holds together.
I was going to ask you that because I can see that looking at it. I'll overlay another video, but I can see what would be the veins of the wave going up, and if that was purposeful, if that would happen to be the grain of the wood.
Yeah.
But that.
Oh yeah, no, it's
the essence.
Yeah, and also looking at the grain, so when it goes like this, of which side the barrel is on.
Mm-hmm.
So it complements the way that it flows through it. So there's a lot of time and patience and hours put into it through the evening. It's passion. It's not, you know, it's not my day job.
Yeah.
I did, you know, you can make money out of it. But
my difference is my version of that would be get a block of wood, drill a hole through it, and then a bit of sandpaper, and it kind of looks like a wave I'd surf.
How many hours do you know that's taking you?
Oh, that one's, it's not hours, it's days, that one is.
Right.
Yeah, because it's a big piece. But usually I can knock a little one out, sort of, you know, yay big, in about 6-7 hours. But the years that, you know, time that's been put into it.
Yeah, we were learning about some wood before, and you gave us some. I can't remember what it was called. It was like concrete wood or.
Oh, ironwood. Yeah, it's just down
Ironwood.
there. Literally,
Unbelievably
like,
heavy.
yeah, it's ridiculous. So
Pete's trying to lift it now.
there you go. Yeah.
It's heavy.
So when I got stuck in South Africa, I met a Swiss carpenter, and we were sat in a forest full of ironwood, and we wouldn't cut a tree down. It was all just fallen stuff.
Yeah.
And there was stuff called sneezewood as well, which is super rare wood. No one's ever heard of it, any woodworking community, so I'm a bit like special. But yeah, he said like when he was teaching me how to do things without screws and glue, it was like, yeah, basically you better appreciate this stuff.
Okay.
So what's that? What do they use that for? Ironwood.
It's lignum vitae, so they used to use it in like sailing boats, and they used to use it in the pulleys.
I was going to say, that ain't floating.
No, it's not floating. But what it does is it doesn't ingress water so much.
Okay.
So you have that resistance. So when you make a little spindle or something like that for the pulleys, it can get you can get a load of water on it and it won't move, sort of thing.
So that's just more dense.
It's more dense, yeah. It's super strong wood.
Okay.
But if you work it right, you can polish it to a high degree, a bit like this stuff. You know.
Yeah.
It's a bit like that, you know. It's a bit like metal when you polish it.
Yeah.
You can really bring out the grain in it.
And I mean, I have to ask you. Obviously, you know, you're very skilled at what you do. You must have made a board from wood.
No, God. Well, I did when the loose fit was working. You know, there was a shop there. They did the lyre boards.
Yeah.
And I went down with my tools and went and gave a hand. But at the end of the day, to be honest, though, you know, I'm not interested in making surfboards.
Yeah.
I'd leave it to the guys that do it. There's a guy in Heartland that does it. Who's got that down to a key. You know, I can't make the same thing twice almost. You know, so it's only I like making the waves that I'll keep making those.
So can you make them out of any wood, or is it just got to be a certain type of wood?
Well, I like a bit of hardwood, to be honest.
Yeah.
Hardwood, and I can make it out of pine, really good pine. I can make it out of most woods, but you know, I do quite like the beech. That's really hard to work with to get that finish to it, to get your scratches out.
Yeah.
What people don't realise is the hours of hand sanding that has to go into it to get it to that finish.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, olive ash is really nice. I've got such a choice of wood. I'm like, where do you go? But I quite like to see, like, olive ash is really nice because you see the grain going through it.
Yeah.
You know, anything that's quite lightish, you know.
Yeah.
What's the other sort of projects you're doing as well around the area? Because you've got a few on at the moment.
I
haven't
can't
you,
talk
places?
about that. If I told you, I'm going to have to kill you.
All right.
Please,
No.
in that case, talk about it.
Thanks.
Help you get rid of them.
Yeah, well, I'm doing the Georgian Village stores at the moment, so the local village shop.
Yeah.
So I've been given the privilege to be able to rework, refit it, and then put that back together in my own vision, sort of thing.
Yeah.
And lots of sketching and everything else to get my ideas across. But they've not said no to me yet. Idiots.
See how far you can push the boundary.
Yeah, well, I push it every time, but I've done we've got Baggy Lodge on here as well. So I'd built Baggy Lodge, and that took me 18 months to put that together.
Okay.
Which is all
There's some other parts around here as well, isn't there, that people can see? That
New
when
Coast Kitchen,
Yeah.
Meraki Pizza.
Oh, that
Some-
was the place that was. So it was open, but was out of stock on every pizza when we.
It wouldn't open. I drove past it. It wouldn't open when I went.
Well, there
to
wasn't the website.
Was it not? Yeah, it's
We were
just tucked out the
starving.
way. Were you? Oh,
Yeah,
bless
it
you.
was the first night. First night.
I said to Mitch when we come down here, I said it's November, mate. Nothing's open after like 6 o'clock at night.
Go on the
And he's
website, all open. But every pizza I went to order, every pizza out of stock. Out of stock.
What?
It was
Well,
a-
it's just changed hands. So basically, the guys over at Woolacombe who started Meraki Coffee, which is another place I've done,
Right,
sort of
yeah.
thing. They started it and they let me go wild on that bar in there. I
Yeah.
did resin pour through it with lights behind
Oh,
it.
nice.
And I went nuts.
Where'd you get your inspiration for like? Because I think you're not just a standard woodwork guy that like you think, Whittling WoodPecker works with wood. That's it. You work with
Yeah.
all sorts of things like metals and,
Yeah,
as you say, resin and.
we're bending wood, and brass here and stuff to make into waves, and yeah, I don't know. I've been given the gift, I suppose, if you want to call it. I don't know, the inspiration from it kicked off from the Swiss carpenter who initially showed me stuff, and he showed me how to play with wood. It was just we'd build things, and then at night we'd be sat down and scraping at wood and making pipes or whatever, and stuff. But yeah, it would be making like little spoons, like making spoons in your spare time,
Yeah.
but all done by hand. And then that kicked me off to be like, wow, that's where I'm going in life now.
Yeah.
And it's a passion, and that's what I do, if you know what I mean. And I'll spend hours and hours. I could be up here till 10:30 at night and be quite happy just fiddling. It's one of those where once you've done one thing, and then to try and amalgamate
Yeah.
different materials into things,
Yeah, yeah.
really interesting to me.
Do you think it's a dying craft?
Yeah, if you're not careful, it will disappear. So,
Yeah.
you really need, everyone likes like nail guns now and,
Yeah.
and that's it done, sort of thing. Anyone who's got skill, look, all of these, people give them to me.
Well,
because
do
they're
when
done.
I saw them, I thought I've got a few of them at home.
Yeah, well, I keep restoring them and trying to bring,
Yeah.
some of them are copies.
Yeah.
But there's different ones in here for different jobs. But my favourite one, I'll just show you my favourite, otherwise we could be here forever. Right, it's the compass plane.
Right.
Right, so okay, we got right. Try and keep it to my mouth as well. But what you do get is you can change the angle. Hang on, let's go this way so you can get a good view of it. But you can change the plane on it.
Ah, right.
Okay.
So when you make a shape or a curve like this, so I've used it on the legs with this,
Yeah.
that you keep that plane like this, and you can get that perfect curve.
Right.
Because as much as you can get a
Got you.
straight line,
Yeah.
you can get a perfect curve.
Yeah, right.
Would that be something you could use if you were shaping a surfboard?
Yeah, you could do.
So
yeah.
you could get the edges and stuff.
Yeah, you could go down the rocker of it, couldn't
Yeah.
you, really? But I know people that, have manipulated all, planes like that you get the grinder out and then you shape the
Yeah.
actual planer. Sort
So
of.
Yeah.
Pete would give you all his old planes, but they're full of nails from his automatic nail gun. Just firing it around the room.
Oh, where can I do that? Yeah, they're all stuck together now.
In
yeah.
fact, DeWalt, I remember seeing this, I don't know, it was on Facebook somewhere years ago. DeWalt do, it's an M4 replica, so an M4 assault rifle weapon system.
Oh, no way.
It's a nail gun, But it looks exactly like an M4 assault rifle, but it's in the classic black and yellow DeWalt colours as well.
Amazing, like, yeah. I wonder how many people can shoot with that.
I mean, it's America, everyone. Sorry, American fans.
Oh, bless them, like, yeah.
Oh man,
You can have a go at anything there, can't you, really?
Yeah, so...
But American tools, I haven't got it with me, but American tools are amazing.
Right.
I've got this. I'll talk about one of my favourite tools. It's got a grinder and it's got a chainsaw attachment to it. Amazing. It's a finger eater.
It sounds horrific.
Yeah.
Saw.
It's your zombie apocalypse go-to.
Yeah,
almost,
right.
like. Yeah, but it's got this chainsaw attachment, and that's what I managed to sculpt a lot of this stuff out of.
Yeah.
Because if you get it right and you're paring at the wood and you're paring it away, and you can get quite a shape to it in the end, you know.
Yeah.
What's your sort of go-to? What's the job that you're like, oh, I can't wait to do that? Is it the thing that somebody gives you a concept, and you're like, I have no fucking clue how I'm going to do that? Is it the challenge of it, or is there something you just like to do specifically with wood?
Well, every job's like that.
Oh,
every job that I get given. I mean, I suppose I specialised through being here that I'm not going to fit kitchens. I can do, but I won't. I won't make doors and windows. And I've always done something special.
Yeah.
And it's like this TV cabinet, you know, they said, make me a TV cabinet. I could have just banged a load of screws in it.
Yeah.
But there's not a screw in it. It's like all done with dovetails and it's put together, and probably don't make any money out of it, but it's for the passion of it.
Yeah.
You know, like the Georgian Village stores, so the people have offered me to do that, and then they know kind of how creative I am. So
Yeah.
I don't know whether it's just that, and I've stuck to what I want to do, you know.
That's a nice place to be, though, isn't it? Just doing what you want to do.
Yeah, it is.
Not everyone gets that.
No, you know, I mean, there's times when I did this summer, I did all my markets, and next door I've got like tables and stuff I've made over time, and trying to sell it, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But you know, to get that market has been really difficult. So through the summer, I kind of suffered a little bit because I dedicated my time to trying to sell that stuff, and it's the clientele and also the economy as well. You know, everybody was like a bit tight with their pennies and whatnot.
Yeah.
But you put yourself out there. You know, waves went really well on Instagram. I can sell them all day long, sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, I've got stock there and I need to sell it, sort of thing. But yeah, so yeah, it's one of those. Sometimes it's not about the money for me. It's about the actual passion of doing it. And you know, obviously money bloody helps to live, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And to
A little
make.
bit sometimes.
Yeah.
And you've got a great space to do it, and I mean, it's fucking freezing outside. And we're
Yeah,
sitting here
God,
super
yeah.
comfortable. So
Yeah.
even I'm wearing this,
And
I'm
doors
wearing-
half open
and
as
the
well.
doors- Yeah.
Well, I think we need to put some more of Georgian Village stores wood on, don't we? At some point.
But yeah, so like, what's the future for you? What are you gonna do? What's your next projects? What's your
next
coming
surf
up?
trips.
Our surf trip would be South America, but it's one of those. I'm really happy being here.
Yeah.
But when I go, like you kind of hopefully get the understanding that when I go somewhere, I go somewhere, you know, and I'll be there for a year or to 10 months, sort of thing.
But you've only gone for 3 days.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Just a quick trip away.
Just pop into the shop.
Where the fuck have you been? Instagram. Oh, here we go. Yeah, Chicama. Here we come. Like, yeah.
So what is your Instagram so people can find you, see your work and. You know.
It's Whittling WoodPecker, and that's it, straight up. Just with a silent H though as well.
And it's not a cider.
It's
It's not a cider. No, afraid not. Like,
And
it's
you
proper
can
job.
see there's pictures of the waves you've made. There's things of you surfing on there.
Yeah.
There's
Geraldine, there's Nigel, there's Barry. Barry was somewhere, and Barry the cat and stuff. But
So
Nigel.
I was chat about the dog when we came in. Your spaniel is super cute. It's pitch black outside, and he was cutting about with his little teddy playing, and you said it's pointless kicking the teddy, get the ball and a tennis racket. And you launched a tennis ball outside, and we both, because it's quite dark out there, we thought you smashed it straight at us. We both shit ourselves, but you knocked the ball for miles into the dark. And we were like, the dog's never coming back with that ball. And it came back with the ball. And we were blown away. We had a whole conversation about it. And you said, Pete, why don't you do it?
yeah,
First ever time the dog's not come back with the ball.
yeah, that's it. Yeah, no, we'd be charging you for that.
True story. Pete ruining it for everyone.
Yeah, well, you've got to have a go, haven't you? Imagine the amount of frisbees I've lost. You know, those Araby frisbees.
Yeah.
Have you ever wanged one of those at full pelt?
Yeah.
Literally, you stood on top of the dune at Croyd. It's got to be low tide, otherwise they sink. And then we stood on top of the dune with a slight onshore, and you wang it as hard as you can. Literally, it disappears out of sight. Next minute, he comes back with it. You're like, yeah, again.
All over it.
So much fun.
All over it.
Nigel.
Yeah, you're all right on your pup.
One question I added in on the last edition, that's probably quite a good one for you actually, but you're a very humble person, so you might just give us the answer you think we want to hear. So I'll throw it out. So let's just say I'm 6 foot tall, for argument's sake, right?
Right.
Just taking off on a wave, and I've just completed a bottom turn, right? But I've got really poor technique, so my knees are fully locked out. I'm stood fully tall. Okay, I'm now trimming along the wave.
Right.
And the board is at the very bottom of the wave. The top of the lip is in line with the top of my head. I'm 6 foot tall. In feet, how big is that wave?
In feet. Oh, you see, this is where I don't like to class it, really. You can say 3 foot, 2 foot. Everyone's foot's different, no matter where you go in the world, etc. The best way to analyse a wave is head high, double overhead, head and a half, and then you can make your own judgment. I mean, people have, I've got stitched up when we was living in the campsite. My mate came back from low tide crawl and said, yeah, it's only 2 foot. Got down there and it was like, whoa. And I was still a novice at that time, So however you predict it, everyone's prediction's different, isn't it? But to class that wave, I just say head and half.
Yeah, I like that. Good.
You get that gauge, don't you, then?
Yeah.
It's a Hawaiians will say it's only 2 foot, but it's triple overhead or whatever.
Yeah.
Look at Mully or something, it's only shoulder high.
Shoulders of giants. Yeah.
Exactly. That's a hell of a wave, isn't it?
Yeah.
So
Have you surfed that?
No, I haven't. No, but I have surfed over in Ireland, and it's like cold Indonesia.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys have surfed there, haven't you?
Haven't surfed Ireland yet.
No.
You haven't?
No.
We think it's the next trip, actually.
Oh, you've got to.
We'll get Pete pushed into Mully.
Yeah.
Good content, if nothing else.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Have a go.
Got to take the hit for the show.
Yeah, just go.
Would you surf Mully?
Well, depends. I think toe-in surfing, you could get towed in and just trim the line and hold on for dear hope and get absolutely nailed, or what? Well, you're either 50-50, isn't it?
Yeah.
But paddling in is a whole different level. When I'd surf it maybe at head and a half, but even at head and a half, the bigger the wave, bigger it is, the deeper it is. So there's a big thing. But like I said, if I was in Ireland and I was in front of Mully, I'd pick and I'd be like, right, okay, I'll have a go. And if you're with the guys that kind of, they push you in a little bit, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
But I'd have a stab. I'd paddle out. I'd definitely paddle out and look at it and go, all right, let's have a go, or not.
I've just spent some time
I think that's the difference in our surfing.
Yeah, totally.
I'd paddle out. I'm going home.
I wouldn't even have travelled there.
Oh, really?
I've just spent some time with G-Man as well. You spend time with these people and you're like, just such a nice, humble dude. And then you see this content and the waves they're in, you're like, what the fuck? Like, it's madness.
Yeah.
No, it's like there's something, because you're quite mellow, right? You seem like quite a chilled dude.
Yeah.
I always think that seems to me, and I think we agree on this, that seems to be a common trait in people that surf bigger, heavier waves of consequence. They're never like these hyped and amped and like just stressed on life type people. They're always mellow and chilled. A lot of them have something missing up here as well.
Yeah.
Which you have to. But it just seems to be a common trait. People are quite mellow that surf these things, and you just think they're probably just mad mental people. It's not normally the case.
Well, there's that, but there's also like we're going back to the beginning a little bit. It's being humbled. It's being humbled by a big ocean out there. You look at Cotton, he's surfing Nazare and stuff like that. Taz Knight, he's just sailed down that way and he's going that way, and he's a big Mulligamore surfer, and I've spent time with him, and he's super humble as well. Yeah. Anyone that gets to fulfill a passion and surf with a group of people that are waves of consequence, I think you end up becoming just centred a little bit.
Do you think the centering, the humbling of that comes from there's nothing to prove because you've surfed you're not trying to prove anything to anybody, you just...
When you take off on one of those waves, you just go, holy shit, you can either come out of it or you could get killed at the end of the day, or there's, you're just going, I'll put myself out there, and I'm with, that you're probably going to have to rely on that group of people.
Yeah.
It's like me paddling out to oysters from my mate Matt, and I had to rely on him, and you just go, cool, this is Mother Ocean, and I take my boat out and go down to the end of the estuary and go and have a surf out there, and you're out there, it's being in those elements sometimes. I surfed in Port St John's in South Africa, and I paddle out, and that place it's super shocking. No one's allowed to surf there anymore because there was prolific amount of shark attacks. And so you paddle out there and you're humbled and you're like, wow, I'm the only guy out here and it's really sharky. So you come out of the waves and go, thanks.
Yeah.
That's normally I didn't even mention sharks. That's normally my go-to. On most of the places you've mentioned, I'm like, shark. No, like that, not going.
Yeah, no, I mean, I was stuck in the Transky for a year where I met the Swiss carpenter in Port St John's, and you're surfing chocolate barrels, amazing, like. But yeah, you kind of try and put that to one side a little bit.
Yeah.
It is a shark. I surfed it in a Nahoom with Dave Malherby, and it was just me and him who paddled out, and it was 6 foot, so heading a bit.
Yeah.
If you want to call 6 foot, and he got one all the way through the point, and I'm sat there going, holy shit. And you must have heard of Nahoom, where there's a shark that goes in the wave and bites a lad, isn't it, and stuff. Ooh. But you have to put that to the back of your mind. But it's not like it's still there. But a lot of the time you can't see these perfect waves go past.
Yeah,
I think it's that thing though, isn't it? Like when you're sat there with your legs just dangling off the side of the board in the water, that's when you think about it. Once you're on the wave, that's all gone out your head. You don't think about that anymore.
It is.
It's when you're just sat bobbing around and your legs are in the water.
And your mind's idling as well.
Yeah.
Some people say chocolate barrels are the only types of barrels.
Is it? So. Keep that to the bedroom, Sorry. My bad.
Well, man, it's been an absolute pleasure. It's been a nightmare trying to get here, and we were hiding from you by your sign. We were in a farm complex somewhere, and I was reminiscing about being in the army. We were sat there thinking we were waiting for you. We were in completely the wrong place.
Yeah, and, well, I did send you the details. You weren't looking. You've signed off from the army, haven't you?
Once again, we go back to your geography.
But we made it.
Well,
it's been an absolute pleasure.
No, thanks for coming.
So
yeah, it's a privilege to talk to you boys. Thank you.
I hope you find the tennis ball.
Well, we will do at some point, or he'll nick it from the tennis court. It'll be fine.
Because you've lost his ball.
No, he's probably hungry now.
Well, cheers for that, Martin. And I just want to let listeners know that when we turned up, Martin's dog, he had a really cool dog, right? And he said, and it was pitch black as well, in this sort of farm complex we were in. And he said, throw the ball wherever you want, literally as far away as possible, because I think we were initially blown away by how far he threw the ball on that little
he hit it with a tennis racket.
Turbo. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, and it went properly miles in the dark. So Pete was like, "Could I have a go?" And you hit that ball so far. No one has seen the ball since, and the dog's not been seen for about 3.5 months, still trying to find it.
The exaggeration, but yeah, the dog was buggered off for a long time. But, we had an interview to do, so I don't think he found the ball, but he did come back. But that was great. I mean, I think that was one of the weirdest but most fun places we've done an interview in a woodworking wood shop. And I mean, he's made from the very start of this podcast, he's made prizes for competitions with the wooden waves he makes and stuff like that, which are absolutely awesome.
I thought it was a really cool setup. I liked that. There was just something raw about it, and his workshop, the sort of stove just on there for heat. It was really cool, just chopping wood. How much wood would a woodchuck chop? A woodchuck could chop wood. And should we talk about how disproportionate we might have looked on the setup?
Should we talk about whose fault it was, first of all?
Well, let's be clear. I will take comfort over fashion any day, so I wanted the comfy seat, and it was as simple as that.
It's not fashion, it's the fact that we'd already been talking about. If I sit closer to the camera than you, I look massive and you look minute, and the amount of times you still put the camera in my face anyway, and I'm like, fuck off. But then you sat on that chair, it looked like fucking Gandalf and Frodo from the Lord of the Rings.
Well, listen, I was crazy comfortable for the entire time, and I think you were sat on a bit of 2x4 or something. But what a cool guy. He was a really cool guy, super welcoming. I mean, to be fair, everyone in Devon was super welcoming anyway, but he was just, we were there quite late at night. He made his brews and everything else, and just really cool. Absolute charger of a surfer. We never got to surf I say with him, I mean near him. We wouldn't have wanted to paddle out in his comfort.
We're gutted we never got to watch him surf.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm saying. Yeah.
I mean, like you said, coming down from up north and like just stopping off in Croyd and then just staying there basically, and then traveling all around the world, like surfers against street children. That's a different.
Everything's got to have
together.
balance. Everything's got to have balance.
Surfers, not street children. That's what I meant to say. But surfers against street children. That's a whole different.
That's the one you're
video.
setting up, isn't it?
Yeah. But no, all the work he's done with that, and I mean, he's just a really cool, really nice guy, and I really like him. I've got loads of time for him. I've chatted to him on Instagram for years, and as I say, I've met him a couple of times, and he's always been nothing but nice. So yeah, real nice guy.
And also the dude responsible for the Surfing Croyd, would you call it a plaque?
No, you got it completely wrong.
Surfing
North Devon Surf Reserve.
North Devon Surfing Reserve
in Willicombe.
That's what I said. In Willicombe.
Yeah, that's what you said, wasn't it? That's what you meant.
It's on and Sands Puxborough.
That's your southern racistness coming out, where you know nothing about anything south of the border from Scotland.
It's true. It's been a while since I've been there, but no, super cool guy, and I'm really glad we got that one done. It was a really good one to end on, and I say end on. There is one more, but it's going to be a while before that comes out. So yeah, super cool. And
how's your week been since? Well, at time of recording this, it's been a week since Lost Shore. How are you feeling? Because you were proper ill, weren't you?
Oh, I think I was probably COVID. It's not that I don't get ill, just normally that if I get ill, it just doesn't stop me doing things, I don't really get floored, I guess, even if it's bad. And there's probably two things that, regardless of how ill I am, I will still do. One of them is surfing, and the other you can imagine. So we can move straight on from that. But I honestly, mate, I have been floored, like properly. I think my temperature was 106 at the weekend, and I was just ruined, like properly ruined.
Don't know how you weren't having fits.
I know, it's done me for a week, but I'm so out of breath still. In fact, I think the last, when we recorded the second recording of the intro outro for the episode that shouldn't need an intro and outro, the summary edition, that was the Friday. That was the day I was going downhill, and I just wanted the recording out of the way. But I've not got my breath back. Like I had two surfs at work at Lost Shore, and I put my wetsuit on, and I was so out of breath, and I was like, oh shit, is this a good idea? Also, it was backhand as well, and I was like, oh, this is going to be terrible. And to be fair, my backhand, I started off the session really well. Normally on my backhand, it takes me quite a few to figure it back out. But I had a really good few surfs on my backhand, and I think there's something interesting about your backhand where is when you try to do a turn, it's harder to come up the face of the wave to start the turn on your backhand. But when you try to cut back or bring the turn back round to face the shoulder, you're suddenly front side, so all that whip and torque, your body's facing the way it wants to go. So I accidentally, because I'm not trying to, end up in a more critical position on my backhand, but have the sort of, I guess, the shitting off technique to bring it back round. So it feels epic. So the start of the session was class, and then maybe 15 minutes in, it just went pure downhill from there. And it just, like, the energy levels and everything zapped me. But I'm now up in you can probably see in the background on the camera, there's some waves rolling in behind me. Came for a weekend away in the van, just surfing. The swell's not been, the wind has been a bit more problematic than expected. It was straight on shore last night, which I wasn't expecting, which is quite annoying. But I've surfed like three sessions today. Suddenly got quite big out of nowhere as well. Like, when you're like, oh shit!
I was gonna talk about, like, because I said, like, we were talking, and I've said I've surfed more this year already than I've surfed in the last however many years, with like all the fucking shit and everything that's been going on in my life and what have you. But I've had some wicked sessions, and even to the point where, like, the stuff I haven't talked about, which seems like it was ages ago now, because like it was like pre-Lost Shore, but it was like surfing down in Devon and Cornwall and stuff like that, and like I saved a girl from drowning. I didn't talk about that one yet properly with you, and what you were saying about big waves then was I was in waves similar, and it got really big, and I was like, "Fuck this! This is too big." So I went in a bit, and I was playing, and I was playing in a bit like, you know, when you get massive waves, and sometimes they do like that little reform, but they're still a bit whitewater crumbly. I was playing around on that and just working on stuff like improving my pop-up speed and like angling takeoffs and like just working on some different things, because I was like, oh, I may as well do this, because I ain't not going out there, because I was just no. And I've been out on that fish a couple of times as well, the Evo fish, and all sorts. So I've been surfing loads, but so
what
yeah,
about
where to
this
start?
this rescue of somebody? I mean, I'm gonna, like the listeners, straight up assume you dropped in on her and caused the scenario to start with.
Well,
but
actually, I just put my red trunks on, and as I was running down the beach, all I heard was, "Some people stand in the darkness."
and then your tit went round the back of your head and slapped you in the eyeball, did it?
Oh, mate. So I was surfing, and I was in Bude, and there's a bit of a rip at a certain point, and I was there, and there was a girl on a bodyboard, and she's young. I'd say anywhere between I don't know how fucking young girls are now. When I look at a young girl, I've got no idea how old they are. Somewhere between the age of like 13 and 16, I'd say, around that sort of age. And I looked over, and she looked like she was in a bit of trouble, and I was like, "You all right?" And she went, yeah, fine." And then I looked over again, and she was on her back, like inhaling water basically. And I paddled over, and I was like, "Are you all right?" And she's like, "Can you help me get in?" So I like put her on my board and like swam in, like pushing the board in, and then got her to a point where she could stand up, and like she got off the board, and she was like, thank you." I was like stuck, but she was just like stuck in a rip, and I was like, yeah, just took her in, and then off you go, "You're all right." 10 minutes later, I looked down the fucking beach, and she's back in the water at the other end. I'm like, "Oh, for fuck's sake." And I'm like, there's like, I don't know, you know, as I said, I don't know how old they were, so I don't know if there's like, if there was parents around or what, but it was just like, gee, fucking hell, please, you've just nearly fucking drowned in one spot, don't get back in the water there, because like where they were then, like further down the beach, I was like, there's no chance.
Was she surfing? Was she on a board?
She had a bodyboard with her, but she was like, a bodyboard in like t-shirt and like swimming costume, so I was like,
it's summer down there, isn't it? That's fair.
No, mate, this was pre-lost shore, and I was still in like gloves and wetsuit and everything. It was yeah, no, it's madness. So
it's frustrating, isn't it? It's because you kind of you want people to have learned their lessons on them, because it's, you know, we've all been there, like when you get you know, that first time you're stuck in a rip, or you turn around and you suddenly realise you're a lot further out from the beach than you thought you were, and there's not many people around. Like that sinking feeling, I think most people can probably relate to. And if you're not somebody that's using that as a motivator or fuel to not be in that position again, or to make a point of being hyper aware of your surroundings, then you're going to do exactly that. You're just going to go back in the same position, do the exact same thing. And
I had it the same in Bude, surfing with a friend, and she thought I was going to have to get rescued by the lifeguard, because I think it was the first weekend when the lifeguards were on the beach, and I was in Bude, and we were surfing, chatting, and then she was doing something. I turned round, and I wasn't paying attention, and it dragged me across, and then as I turned round, I was right by the rocks, and I was like, ah, shit. But I didn't panic. I was like, right, I know I'm just going to catch a wave and go alongside it, like, and come in. And the lifeguard was like there getting ready to come in, because obviously he could see me being pulled across. She was like, "Oh, fucking! I thought you were going to get smashed in a rock and told off by the lifeguard." I think he was going to come in because he thought he was going to like have to save me or something. But I said it was fine, you know. I just came in. I said worst case scenario where I was there, I would have just gone around the other side and got out and walked back round with the way the rip was taking me. But it's the same thing, like you were just saying. You know, we've all been there, and it's that thing of like being stuck in a rip, or all of a sudden like you're not paying full attention to where you are, and you're like, oh shit, I've moved like. How far you've moved, and like, was it in that one that Martin was saying about when he got wiped out and he came up out the back again or something like that at Croyd?
Right.
Was that it? I can't remember if that. I can't remember. There's so many episodes, and it all seems so long ago now. I can't remember if it was that one or not. But if it was, it's that thing of like not knowing where you are half the time.
It's funny because I got today. I wouldn't say humbled, but there was a moment of fuck. And the spot, you know it, I'm not going to mention it, but the spot I was surfing today, I there's kind of like, it's not always the case, but I've never seen it the way it was. There's like this inside sort of bowl, if you like, and it's just an absolute washing machine. Even on the glassiest day, it looks like there's 50 mile an hour wind just hitting this spot, this one spot on the inside. There's often a rip that either goes left or it goes right, and depending on where you are, sometimes the rip will take you either side of it. And I was in the water myself for ages, and then two lads got in and kind of didn't really speak, but they surfed, I surfed, and they got out. And I remember there's a huge dune you have to climb on the way out. I remember because I was trying to use them as my point of reference for a specific part on the dune, knowing that that's the exit point, and I couldn't see them, and I was like, there's no way they've already climbed that dune, like where are they? And literally 25 minutes later, I just happened to turn round to get my line-up spot, and there they are walking up the dune, and I'm like, they've not gone and surfed else, because that was the spot. They haven't surfed down and up the beach. I was like, what the fuck was that? So anyway, I have a few more waves. It was a bit crap, and it was really peaky this morning, and I think, right, I'm going to get out, so I catch a whitewater wave in, and then I'm in this inside washing machine. Honestly, it goes from like, even, there was some bigger sets with that white water sort of bomb pushing you in, suddenly just dissipates in this deep sort of channel or whatever it is that's there. I think the sandbars have just been smashed, and it is the choppiest washing machine, and I'm like 20 minutes at least paddling and going nowhere, and I'm like, fuck, I'm not get. It's too deep. You can't put your feet on the floor. But even if you can get your feet on the floor,
you can't.
You're getting
I would have
pulled
just
out.
stood up, mate.
And
It'd been up to my ankles.
Honestly, I was using any little bit of bigger chop to just push me inches forward. But it was just that I've not really had that for such a long time. It was kind of just. There's always a humbler, isn't there? There's always something to remind you that you're not the boss. And there was actually something I wanted to talk about that happened on the staff session. The Friday night, like we have a staff session at 6 on a Friday, tons, and it's just a great session. Super fun session. It's just a super good way to finish the week. Like having a surf with a team. It's just always good vibes. And I won't go too much into detail, but I took out a Firewire, a Great White Twin board. Oh my god! Honestly, I thought I'd got over falling in love with boards. It's a 20, but it's a short board kind of performance 20. It's weird. I don't know. I don't have the details on it to describe what it actually is supposed to be. But this thing was just like so loose. I have never done tons the way I've done tons on that board. It was absolute madness. Anyway, I take off on a right.
Remind me of because it's something similar. Go on, keep going.
Right.
Yeah.
I take off like halfway through the session, and like I said, I'm still rough as, and I take off on a right, and I just absolutely cream the takeoff. So like I'm getting tumbled in the white water and stuff, but I'm not that far ahead. So one of the guys behind us you met, Miro, he's behind me about to take off, and he sees me and he stops. Right, which is obviously the right thing to do. I see him stop, and I'm like, I'm right in front of him. This is a staff session. I'm just gonna. I mean, not that I would ever cut the shoulder at Lost Shore, but I was like, I'm gonna cut the shoulder, and I'm right there. I'm in no one's way. I'm right there. I was aware my leash was also wrapped round my leg, and my board was my board was upside down. Right, so I see this wall coming at me, and I'm like, I'm happy I can duck dive that, and I'm happy I can duck dive that with the board upside down. So as I grab the board to sort of pull it to get the momentum for the duck dive, like I think I must have swung my leg to try and get as much height in the back of the board so I can get down and under. And I must have pulled the board back away from me. So I've tried to grab the nose with two hands, but at the same time my foot's trying to get some loft. It's actually pulled the board away from me. Mate, I just went into an absolute plethora of. It was just carnage. It was like I'd forgotten everything I've ever learnt about surfing, honestly. And I just got smoked and went in. I was like, what just happened there?
Literally 3 things in that story just reminded me of so taking that fish out, I've been riding it a bit, and then I was riding it down in Cornwall, and I had the first time on that board where I got up and I felt the rail properly engage in it. And it it's almost as if I popped up quickly and it grabbed the board. The wave just grabbed the board, the side of it, and it was like, fucking got you. And I was like, oh, this is different. And I literally just moved my shoulders like that, and it was like, boom, turned. And I was like, oh, this is different. I'm thinking now I'm going to be riding shortboards and Mitch is going to be switching to the longboards.
I love how you keep saying that.
the thing is, because that longboard session, I saw how much stoke you had, and I reckon if I get you on a few more longboard sessions, you'll be like, yeah, maybe.
Nah, I mean, I've got no question in arguments about how much I enjoyed it. I really loved it. But I'll still take that one shit attempt at a top turn all day long.
But I think...
Oh,
see,
sorry.
I think now I haven't... Wait, because I'm still going. Because I haven't had that for ages. Like, it's been so many years since I've surfed a shortboard. To the next point, which you said about duck dive, is I went to duck dive. The first one I did, I just went like this with the nose in the water. you're trying to duck dive on a longboard and you just done a press up and nutted the board.
Yeah.
I did a complete opposite, but I just did a press up and just went like that under the water with the nose and just got smashed. And then like I did a couple more and they were awful, the duck dives. And then I got that one, when you get it right and you hit it at the right time and it like flings you out the back of the wave. And I was like, that's what I remember how it felt like years ago.
Yeah. That's when you get a duck when you duck dive like that. That's how you know you've done it properly. Timing, everything's spot on. It feels amazing when it catapults you out the back. Yeah. Then you don't feel it.
Why is it one out of every 17 that it only happens in?
It's true. But that's what I was going to say as well. In that staff session, so I was on the right, and Ethan, who the listeners are probably getting to know slowly, that I work with, he started on the left, and I'm not sure why, but during his session he decided to come and jump on the right in the staff session, and I think he must have been a few waves in front of me, and he's paddling back out and I take off on this right, and I don't know what it is, there's something about when Ethan's in the lineup, like I have a laugh with everyone, but obviously I just want to have a proper laugh, right? And there's times where I'll be bombing along a wave and he's sort of paddling over the top of it, and I just want to make eye contact with him and not look at what I'm doing, right? So I take off on this right and I go really wide on the shoulder before trying to do a cut back, and I see that Ethan's about to paddle over the top, and then I realise he's a lot closer than I sort of realised he was. Now I've been trying to do this thing in my sort of cut back so that I'm really like putting my left arm, my back arm in the water behind me, and I'm pushing on the tail with my back foot just to try and create spray, right? And I'd done that right in front of Ethan, and I have never seen this before. Like, Ethan's told me before that I have rained on him, but I don't believe it because I never saw it, and there's just no way I'm throwing any spray, really. Like, I'm not having it. But this, when you're a kid or you're swimming with the kids and you do that, you skim your palm across the top of the water, and it's like really forceful when it hits them. That was literally what happened, and I sprayed him all up in his face, right? It was like a Mitch Bukkake party, and I was so happy with myself. I was like, "Oh my God, Ethan!" I'm shouting at him, and he would not look at me. And the whole wave, I've gone past him, and I'm still looking back, screaming at him, going, "Ethan, I just fucking sprayed you!" And I didn't realise, but he was in the most foul mood. I don't know why, but he was pissed off about something. I don't know if he was just having a bad surf or whatever. Well, yeah, maybe. But he was in such a bad mood. And I'm just going, Ethan! I spoke to him afterwards, and he's like, honestly, I was having the shittest time. And then of all the people to spray me right in the face, you. And he went, I probably would have found it funny if you'd done it and just moved on, but your entire wave, all I can hear is, "Oh my God, I just sprayed this shit out of him." I was so happy with myself, and I'm still happy with myself. Power to the people.
Fucking brilliant. Oh man, these I wish I'd seen that. I said, like, there's a video I've got on my phone. I think you've got a copy of it. I shared it with you. And there's one video on Lost Shore on the staff session, and I catch a wave, and as I go as you go over the wave next to me, you go, "Podcast Pete," and I just fucking just jump off my board. It's like, you fucking twat. And
I think you fell off every time I shouted podcast.
Every time I was going into a wave, you were just shouting at me, and I was just pissing myself laughing. But
it was funny.
Speaking of pissing myself laughing, on the old Instagramian, the new logos that have gone out there, and I think the majority of people are thinking the two laughing surfboards in our
bananas,
logo.
Or bananas, as everyone's
bananas.
Yeah,
but I think bananas is quite good because it's quite well fitting for us actually.
I like empowering the people. But I'm going to overrule. I think I'm genuinely surprised that people haven't gone with the one laugh and one angry, because I think that kind of sums us up. Because normally one of us is either pissed off and happy.
It's not a closed vote yet. It's still quite close.
Right. It's close enough that you can go with that one and people will think it was genuine. I also think the boards. I think one of them should be Mitchell Tartan.
Do you?
Yeah.
All right then. That'll probably be the angry one.
Right.
But yeah.
What? So the fun one. Talking about.
You're a fucking angry one. You're always fucking angry. You're always raging about something. You've started off podcasts before going, right, fucking Asda, fucking this, fucking that. That's how you've started podcasts.
Wait, but then plastic bags though. Well, why are they securing the bags?
Do you know what? Just chill out, Grom. Just chill out, Grom.
Why are they like the nuclear briefcase? The nuclear briefcase. It's like the plastic bags in Asda.
Well,
but
we fucking waffled on long enough, haven't we?
So we have.
So don't forget, you can use the discount code for Surfish, UK Surf Show 24. And you can use a discount code for Cookville, UK Surf Show 10, and that will get you 10% off at either of those.
And if you want to get 15% off at Tiki, anything but boards, use the discount code UK Surf Pod. And also, if you want 15% off surf or accommodation, or both, at Lost Shore Surf Resort, use the discount code UK Surf Show.
Yeah, should shout out Tiki as well. This was the last one apart from the other one, as we said, of the Devon editions that they sponsored, and I mean they've been brilliant. Like boards, they sent us to try out, clothing, wetsuit stuff, everything, and financially supporting, as we said, the Devon trip. Otherwise, that one wouldn't have happened. And it's just been good.
Gutted selling that Parrot Twin back. I love that board. Sending it back.
Selling it
back. Selling it back. Selling it back to them.
I was going to say, what's happened? You had it off them and sold them all. I was gutted when I sold all those Tiki boards they lent me.
It actually would have been perfect today, that board, because it's really good in choppy, sloppy waves as well. Yeah. No, I mean, to be fair, it had some size and power, but there was a lot of wind on it, so I think it would have been really helpful today. But yeah, it's good. It's good. That I am liking that fish as well, and it feels bigger than it is because the nose feels so long on it, but it feels bigger than it is, but it rides shorter than it looks. Does that make sense to you? Do you know what I mean? Fucking no. I know what you're trying to say, though. It probably does make sense.
It feels bigger when you're paddling on it, but when you're actually up on it, it moves more like a shortboard. But yeah, it's nice. I do like it.
Well, there you go.
So I
getting some surf this week?
Yeah? Huh?
Getting some surf this week?
Oh, yeah, I'm going surfing now in a minute. Literally going out the door now in a minute and going surfing. And I also... Shit, what else was I need to say? Oh, yeah. Don't forget the Surf Skate Expo as well. You can get tickets for that still online, and that is the Surf and Skate Expo. That's in Newquay in September. Just go to the Surf and Skate Expo.com or .co.uk, I think it is. I should have read that properly first of all.
You should
have.
And
it's there, but we're going to be there at that. And it's gone.
Oh well.
Oh, Tiki competition final part.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's coming up. Look out for it.
What is it?
It's a surfing board.
It is a surfing board. It is a replica or a remake of one of their original surfboards, and
guns.
Yeah, it's really cool board, actually, really nice. So that'll go out on the social medias at some point soon.
So look forward to that, and that is a mega giveaway. So yeah, proper look forward to that.
Yeah. So cool.
Amazing.
So that's it. I think the one last thing I wanted to say was the Buy Me Coffee. We've had a few questions about it. I don't think we're doing the Buy Me Coffee for the foreseeable, just because we've got too much going on with work and our own lives and main podcast. So you can still support on Buy Me Coffee. You can support the show, but we'll put something out on there just to say what's going on if you are a member of the Buy Me Coffee, and we'll put something out just to say what's happening with it. But that's it, and
Sweet.
we will see you next time.
Bye.